Hello everyone, it's Glenda and welcome back to Creative Grandma's channel. Today's crochet tutorial is for my Twisted Fringe Triangle scarf. I've been wanting to make a fringe scarf. I wanted the shorter triangle in the center so I can wear it with the triangle in front and just that added fringe to add a really nice finishing touch. So let me take it off and show you what it looks like before you wrap it around your neck. It's pretty long and I'll give you all the dimensions in a minute. This is what it looks like. It has the shorter triangle. So let me tell you everything you're going to need to make this scarf today. So for today's project, you're going to need one large skein of the Miss Babette Spotted Flowers. Now this was a special colorway designed for Bab's birthday. Now I'll have a link to her website in the description box underneath this video. Now I'm not associated with Miss Bab's website. I just love her yarn and I love to buy her yarn. Now I only purchased one skein of the yarn. That's how much I have left over. This is what it looks like and this is how it's going to come. So you only need one skein because they're very large skeins. So let me tell you a little bit about the yarn. Now it is $38 per skein, but it's the large 8-ounce skeins and that's what I like. You can make your item in one piece. It's 560 yards, 8 ounces, 512 meters, 225 grams per skein. It's 100% superwash merino wool. It's a sport weight, machine wash gentle, and the yarn should be dried flat for best results. Now here's another gorgeous colorway where it has that cream color base and all those speckles. Now this one is the Hitchhiker's Birthday and this is the larger skein. It's $38 and this is enough with the 560 yards that you could do your whole scarf with just one skein. And look at those gorgeous colorways in this yarn. So again, for this project, you're going to need 560 yards of a merino wool sports weight yarn, and you're also going to need a size G6 or 4mm crochet hook. So let's go ahead and get our project started. To begin our project, I already tied my yarn around my hook and I just used a double knot. You can use whichever method you prefer. I'm also using a size US G6 or 4mm crochet hook. We're going to begin and chain 244. You're going to yarn over the hook, pull it through the loop on your hook, and this creates your first chain. The loop on your hook does not count as a chain. That's one. Yarn over, pull through the loop, that's 2, 3, 4, 5. Continue until you have 244 chains, and I'll be back and we'll start row 1. I'm back. I have my chain with 244 chains. It's a pretty long chain. So we're going to go ahead and start row 1. You may want to double check your stitch count before you begin. To begin row 1, we're going to skip the first chain. You're going to insert into the second chain from the hook and work a single crochet. Yarn over, pull through that chain. You have 2 loops, yarn over and pull through 2 loops. That's how you do a single crochet. Now we're going to start the repeat. This is a very simple design, so very easy to make. You're going to chain 1. You're going to skip the next chain, insert into the next chain, work a single crochet. And that is the end of the repeat. Very simple. Let's do it again. You're going to chain 1. Skip the next chain, single crochet into the next chain. And that is the end of the repeat. So let's do it a couple more times. Chain 1, skip the next chain, single crochet into the next chain. Chain 1, skip the next chain, single crochet into the next chain. Let's do it one more time and then you can continue on your own. You're going to chain one, skip the next chain, and single crochet into the next chain. So go ahead and continue. You're going to chain one, skip the next chain, and work a single crochet into the next chain. You're going to repeat that across until you get to the very end of your chain, and I'll meet you at the end of row one. I'm over at the end of row one. I have 2 chains remaining and 1 more repeat to go. To end the row, I'm going to chain one, skip the next stitch, and you're going to work a single crochet into that very last chain. So row one is finished. This is what your work should look like. Very long chain where you single crocheted, chained one, skipped a chain, single crocheted in the next chain. You work that across. And now we're going to go ahead and start row two. Now row two is our repeat row. Row two, we're going to decrease at the beginning and end of each row. So very important that you pay attention to how we start the row and how we end the row, because you're going to be repeating row two over and over again. So to start row two, you're just going to turn your work. You do not chain, just turn your work. We're going to skip the first single crochet and we're going to slip stitch into this next chain one space. So insert underneath the chain one space, yarn over the hook, pull it back through, and then through the loop on your hook. Now we're going to slip stitch into this next single crochet stitch. We're going to insert under the top 2 loops and slip stitch. Yarn over, pull through that stitch, and pull through the loop on your hook. So what we're doing is we're skipping the beginning single crochet, we're skipping the chain one space, and we're starting in that second single crochet of the row. So this is where you're starting the next row when you repeat this pattern. We're going to begin and chain one. We're going to insert back into that same single crochet where we slip stitched, work a single crochet. And you can see how it decreased at the front of the row. So let's go ahead and start the repeat. You're going to chain one, you're going to skip the next chain one space and single crochet into the top of the next single crochet. Make sure you're going under both of those top 2 loops. And that is the end of the repeat. Very simple pattern. You're going to chain one, skip the next chain one space, single crochet into the top of the next single crochet. And that is the end of the repeat. Again, very simple. Chain one, skip the next chain one space, single crochet under the top 2 loops of the next stitch. Chain one, skip the next chain one space, and single crochet into the next single crochet. So go ahead and continue. You're going to chain one, skip the next chain one space, single crochet into the next single crochet. Chain one, skip the next chain one space, single crochet into the next single crochet. Repeat that across to within the last 2 stitches and I'll meet you there. I'm over at the end of row 2. We have 2 stitches remaining and we're going to leave these 2 stitches unworked. So you're just going to end the row with 2 stitches remaining. So now what I tell my new crocheters is put a stitch marker into the last stitch and then go back to the beginning of the row, which I should have mentioned this earlier when I did my first single crochet, to put that stitch marker in that first single crochet. Remember, you're going to have 2 stitches unworked here, that single crochet, chain one space. You worked a single crochet into that second single crochet of the row below. So you want to put your stitch marker right into your first single crochet of row 2. And this way, when you're coming back across for row 3, you know where that last stitch is, so you can count where you need to be to end the row. So row 2 is finished. This is what your work looks like. Your single crochets are stacked one on top of each other, and then your chain one spaces in between. So row 2 is your repeat row. So I'm going to go ahead and work row 2 one more time with you so you know how to start the row again. So let's go ahead and repeat row 2. You're going to turn your work. You're going to skip the beginning single crochet, insert underneath that next chain 1 space and slip stitch. You're going to insert into the next single crochet, go under the top 2 loops and slip stitch. Again, when you start the row, we're skipping the beginning single crochet and we're skipping the chain 1 space and we're slip stitching into that second single crochet. So it almost looks like stair steps when you're working this. We're decreasing with each row until we get to the point. So now we're going to chain 1 and you're going to single crochet into that same stitch. This is the first single crochet of the row, so you want to put your stitch marker into that first single crochet you made of row 3. So now we're going to go ahead and start the pattern. You're going to chain 1, skip the next chain 1 space, single crochet into the next single crochet. Chain 1, skip the next chain 1 space, single crochet into the next single crochet. Chain 1, skip the next chain 1 space, single crochet into the top of that next single crochet. So let's do it one more time. You're going to chain 1, skip the next chain 1 space, single crochet into the next single crochet. You're just repeating the pattern. So go ahead and chain 1, skip the next chain 1 space, single crochet into the next single crochet. Repeat that across to the last 2 stitches and I'll meet you there. I'm over at the end of row 3. I have 2 stitches remaining. You're going to have a chain 1 space and a single crochet. If you're using stitch markers, you're going to have a stitch marker into this last single crochet across. So if you're new to crocheting, do not get confused by the stair stepping. You want to go with the current row. We're going to leave the last 2 stitches unworked, and then you're going to put a stitch marker into this last stitch here. And again, you're leaving those 2 remaining stitches unworked. So that's all there is to this design. Again, you're repeating row 2. I just did row 2 with you again for row 3. So this is what we're doing here. We're working and we're repeating row 2. And when you look at the side of your work, you're going to see how you skip the last 2 stitches, and then at the other side you're skipping the first 2 stitches. So we're decreasing as we're repeating row 2. So your scarf is going to get smaller and smaller as it comes up to the point. So let me zoom out a little bit. So here is my sample scarf. I'm getting ready to put my fringe and the outer border on. So what you're going to do is you're going to repeat row 2. And as you're repeating row 2, again, you're decreasing on both sides, the right side and the left side. You're skipping 2 stitches when you start the row. You're skipping 2 stitches when you end the row. So as you're working that pattern up, it just stair steps itself into a small triangle. So when you get to the end of your scarf, you're going to have a single crochet, a chain 1, and a single crochet when you get to the end of row 61. Again, we worked 3 rows already, so you need to repeat row 2 58 more times. And when you get to the end of your shawl, you'll be at the end of row 61. You'll have a single crochet, chain 1, and a single crochet. So go ahead and continue and repeat row 2 58 more times, and I'll meet you at your center point at the end of row 61. I'm over at the end of row 61. I fastened off my work. This is what your scarf should look like. This is the left hand side of the scarf. It goes all the way to the point, and then you have your right hand side, and then it comes down to our point. So again, if you're at the end of row 61, you're going to have 1 single crochet, a chain 1, and a single crochet. So go ahead and fasten off your work, and then we're going to start our border. To begin the border, you just fastened off on row 61. So now you want to just flip your scarf upside down. Just take the bottom and flip it over so the bottom is on the top, and then row 61 is facing the bottom towards you. So this is what you want it to look like when we start the border. So this is how you want it to be facing. You want that long edge at the top, and you want your bottom point facing you. So we're going up to the top, and you're going all the way over to the right hand corner, and we're going to join our yarn into this first chain at the top right hand corner of our beginning foundation chain. So let me zoom up. So I already have my yarn attached to my hook with a double knot. This is how I'm going to join my yarn, and I'm going up to the first chain. So when you get to that top right hand corner, just take your fingers and just take it right down the side of that foundation row. Just bring it over. You're going to look for your first chain one space is here. And then right beside the chain one space on the right is your first single crochet. So just look for that first single crochet. You're going to insert into the bottom of that single crochet stitch into that foundation chain. And I like to try to grab 2 loops when I do my stitches on the foundation chain, and then I'm just going to slip stitch my yarn through that stitch and through the loop on my hook. We're going to chain 1, you're going to yarn over, insert back into that same beginning stitch, work a half double crochet. Now my end piece of yarn, I'm going to hold it right up against my work and work right over it and weave it in as I go. You're going to yarn over, insert into the next chain, so you find that chain 1 space, insert into the chain above it. And again, I'm working over my ends, work a half double crochet. And if you notice, I'm going into the chain and not underneath it and around it. I'm going right into the chain. Half double crochet into the next chain, which is right at the base of that single crochet. Half double crochet into the next chain, which is right at the chain 1 space. You're going right into the chain above it. And we're just going to repeat that across to the next corner. Half double crochet into the next chain. Half double crochet into the next chain. Continue and work 1 half double crochet in each chain across to the next corner, and I'll meet you there. I'm over at my first corner. I have 2 chains remaining, and I worked 1 half double crochet in each chain across the bottom of the foundation chain. I'm going to go ahead and finish across to the corner. I'm going to half double crochet into the next chain, which is above that chain 1 space. And then when you look at your work, you're going to have 1 more chain, and you have a single crochet under it. So I'm going to half double crochet into that last chain. We're going to chain 2 for the corner. And now we're going to work right back into that same space where the half double crochet was worked. You're going to insert into that same space and work a single crochet. Now we're ready to begin working down the edge of our shawl down to the bottom point, and then we're going to go from the center bottom point back up to where we started our half double crochet. So I'm just going to pull my hook out just for a second, and I want to talk about your stitch placement. Now each row is going to have 2 stitches at the end of the row. These are the stitches we're working in. We're going to single crochet into this first single crochet row end stitch, and then we're going to make a fringe. Then we're going to come over and single crochet into this chain 1 space, make a fringe. That will complete the next row. Then you're going to jump to the next row and repeat. Single crochet into the row end stitch, make a fringe. Come over to the chain 1 space, single crochet into the chain one space, make a fringe. Then you're going to jump to the next row, and each row has that single crochet and the chain one. So let's go ahead and get started on our repeat. Again, you're going to go up to the next row. Here is the single crochet in the next row, that edge stitch. Insert right through the center of that stitch, the row end stitch, work a single crochet. Now we're going to make our twisted loop fringe. So you're going to need something that measures 7 inches. So let me zoom out just a little bit to show you how to make the fringe. So I have a tape measure. You can use anything that measures 7 inches. So I'm just going to take from where I'm going to start pulling my loop, and I'm just going to pull on my hook until I have a 7-inch loop. So I have a 7-inch loop. I'm going to go ahead and twist my loop. You want to twist the loop 20 times. Now, if you want a tighter fringe, you can twist it longer. I think 20 is perfect. You're going to take your hook and you're going to bring it towards you, then go underneath your loop and back up around. And then you're going to just keep doing that, and you can use your fingers to help hold that yarn on your hook. Take your hook and bring it towards you, underneath the loop, back up around, let go of your finger, move it up to the top of your hook so the yarn don't come off. That's 2. Hook towards you, underneath and around, move your finger back up to the top. That's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. Then look at your chain. You can see how it's twisted. Then I use my little finger and I stretch it, and I just put my finger right in the middle of that length of fringe, and then I just bring my hook back up to the single crochet I just made, insert into the front loop, and insert into the side loop of that stitch. Slide the loop at the end of your fringe down. You have 3 loops. Just pinch those 3 loops together and then slip stitch. Yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on your hook. So your fringe is going to look all kind of funky. You just want to take your fingers and you just want to go from the top and just lightly just press from the top to the bottom, and it straightens that out, and you can see how we have our twisted fringe. So now we're going to move to the chain 1 space of the same row. Again, we have a single crochet and a chain 1 space. Insert into the chain 1 space, work a single crochet. Now we're going to pull up our 7-inch loop. So take your work to the end and then pull it up until you have 7 inches. It depends on what you're using to measure. So that's 7 inches. And then I'm going to twist 20 times. Yarn towards me, underneath and around. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And if you notice, if you hold your hook up in the air, it doesn't come off as easily. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. Take your little finger, push right in the center, and then pull your work up to the single crochet just made. Insert into the front loop and the side loop of that single crochet. Then take your loop from the end of your fringe, push it down, pinch all 3 loops together, yarn over, and pull through all 3 loops. Again, your fringe is going to look really funky. Just take your fingers, start at the top, and just move your fingers slowly down and get all those lumps and bumps out. And sometimes you might have a little bit of a indentation sticking up, then just use your fingers, pull it apart with your fingers and flatten that out. And that is how you do the twisted fringe. So this row is done. We worked in the single crochet and the chain one. So now you're going to look for your next row. Here's your single crochet and here's your chain one. And we're just going to repeat what we did here in the next row. We're going into the single crochet and then the chain one space. So let's go ahead and do it again. This is the repeat. Insert into the row end stitch, which is the first single crochet of the next row going down the length. I insert right in the center of that stitch, work a single crochet. You're going to pull up your 7-inch loop, and then we're going to twist 20 times. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19. Take your finger, bend that in half, come back down to the single crochet, insert into the top front loop and the side of that last single crochet made, and then just pull this loop down, have all 3 loops together, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. Again, when you let go, it's going to be funky. Just take your fingers and just start at the top and work your fingers down. Again, if you get one of those lumps, just use your fingers and just flatten that out. Just pull a little bit on it. And that is how you do the twisted fringe. So now we're going to go to our chain one space of that same row, single crochet into that chain one space. You're going to pull up your 7-inch loop, and then we're going to twist 20 times. Again, if you hold your hook kind of like it's straight up and down, it's easier because your yarn doesn't want to come off the hook so much. Take your hook towards you, underneath and around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. Again, I kind of hold this with my index finger, use my little finger, bend it down, come back to the single crochet we just made in the chain one space, insert into the front loop, and then down through the side of that stitch, and then pull this loop on your hook from your fringe down to meet the other 2 loops. Pinch them together, yarn over, and pull through all 3 loops on your hook. Again, your fringe is going to be a little funky looking. Just take your fingers and go from the top of the fringe down and just work that until it's nice and flat. And then when you look at your fringe, try to make sure that all your fringe is about the same length. So that is how easy it is to put your fringe on your scarf. So go ahead and repeat. You're going to single crochet into that next single crochet row end stitch, make your fringe. Single crochet into the next chain one space, make your fringe. You're going to jump up to the next row end stitch, single crochet into that next row end stitch, make a fringe. Single crochet into the next chain one space, make your fringe. You're going to repeat that down the length of the scarf until you get to the bottom point, and I'll meet you there. I worked down the edge of my scarf, and now I'm down at the last row at the bottom center point. So when you look at your work, you're going to have a single crochet, a chain one space, and a single crochet across that last row at the point. So we're going to do the same thing that we did down our scarf. We're going to insert into that first single crochet of the last row, and you're going to work a single crochet. You're going to pull a 7-inch loop up, and then you're going to make your twisted fringe. And I'm turning 20 times. Once you turn your fringe 20 times, you're going to come down and insert into the front loop of that last single crochet made, and then right out through the side of the stitch in the loop right below. Pull those 3 loops together, yarn over, and pull through all 3 loops on your hook. And then you're just going to straighten out that fringe. Now my yarn is going to be a little curly because I was recording my video. I went to edit the video and I had to rip all the fringe out down the one side and across the bottom because it did not film. So I had to do it all over. So my yarn is really curly here. So now we're going to finish working across the row. We're going to insert into the chain 1 space, work a single crochet, pull up your 7-inch loop, and then make your twisted fringe. Bend your fringe in half, come back to the top of the last single crochet made, insert down through the front loop, and then in the loop right below out through the side of the stitch, pinch those 3 loops together and slip stitch through all 3 loops. And then just make sure that your fringe is nice and straight. Now we're going to go into the last single crochet of row 61. It's right here. You're going to insert right into the top of that single crochet stitch, work a single crochet. Pull up your 7-inch loop and then make your twisted fringe. Again, bend that fringe in half, bring your hook up to the front loop of that last single crochet made, and then right through the bottom loop, right out through the side of the stitch, pinch the 3 loops together and slip stitch through all 3 loops on your hook. So our bottom point is finished. I'm going to straighten up my fringe. And now when you look at your work, we're going to go to the next row. So on the next row, it's going to be the opposite of the other side. When you're working down the opposite side here, you're going to be going into the chain 1 space first and then into that ending single crochet stitch. So again, you're going to be dropping down a row. So again, here's our last single crochet of row 61. You want to drop down, and if you're not sure, just take your work and try to hold it straight. Let me get this fringe out of here so you can see better. You'll see here's your next row, and here's your chain 1. There's your single crochet. When you look at your work, you're going to drop down to the next row. Here's your chain 1, and here's your single crochet. You're going to drop down to the next row, chain 1, and single crochet. So let me work a couple rows with you. So now we're going to start our repeat down the other side. So drop down to the chain 1 space in the next row, work a single crochet. You're going to pull up your 7-inch loop, make your twisted fringe. Again, you're going to bend your fringe in half. You're going to come down and you're going to insert into the front loop of the last single crochet made out through the side. Pull the loops together, pinch them, yarn over, and pull through all 3 loops on your hook. And then just make sure that your twisted fringe is nice and straight. So now you worked in the chain 1 space, you're going to have your single crochet edge stitch right here. So you're going right into the row end stitch, and I go right through the center of that stitch, work a single crochet. Pull up your 7-inch loop, make your twisted fringe. Again, bend that fringe in half, bring your hook down, insert it right into the top front loop and down through the side of that stitch under that loop directly below. Pinch your 3 loops together on your hook, yarn over, and pull through all 3 loops on your hook. So that row is finished. I'm going to straighten out my fringe. Now it wants to curl because my yarn was already curled before. So that row is finished. Now we're going to drop down to the next row. You'll see your chain 1 space first and then your ending single crochet. Single crochet into the chain 1 space. Again, pull up that 7-inch loop, make your twisted fringe, bend your fringe in half, bring it down, insert into the top front loop of the last single crochet made and out through the side. You're going to pinch all 3 loops together, yarn over, and pull through all 3 loops on your hook, and then just make sure your fringe is nice and straight. Now we still have our single crochet row end stitch, and if you're not sure where your stitches should be, just look where your single crochet was made in that chain one, follow it right over to the edge stitch, insert right into the center of that stitch, work a single crochet. Pull up your 7-inch loop and make your twisted fringe. Bend your fringe in half, come back down, insert right into that front top loop of that last single crochet made, and then out through the side of the loop below. You're going to pinch all 3 loops together, yarn over, and pull through, and then just make sure your fringe is nice and straight. So that is the repeat working down the opposite side. Again, you're going to drop down to that next row. You're going to go into the chain 1 space, work a single crochet. You're going to make your twisted fringe. Then you're going to come over and go into the row end stitch of the same row, work a single crochet. Then you're going to work your twisted fringe. Then you're going to drop down to the next row, single crochet into the chain 1 space, make your twisted fringe. Come over to the ending single crochet of that row, insert right through the center, work a single crochet, and then make your twisted fringe. You're going to repeat that down to your next corner, and I'll meet you there. I just got done working down the second side of my scarf. I did the single crochet and twisted fringe. I have 1 row end stitch to go, but I wanted to show you how the scarf looks. It's a little hard to see because it's so long and so wide. So let's go ahead and finish our scarf. So when you work down the second side, again, in that last row where you see the chain 1 space, you worked a single crochet twisted fringe, then you worked a single crochet twisted fringe in that last single crochet. So when you get to the very end, there's a space right here, right at the base of that first half double crochet we made. We're going to work 1 single crochet back into the space right at the base of that half double crochet. Insert right at the base of that very first half double crochet you made going across your work, work a single crochet. We're going to chain 2 for our corner, 1, 2, and then we're going to slip stitch into the top of that half double crochet. You're going to skip that beginning chain 1 that you started the round with. You're going to insert under the top 2 loops of that first half double crochet and slip stitch. I'm going to fasten off my yarn, and I leave a longer length, and I use my yarn needle to weave that end in. I chain 2, pull my hook up, pull the yarn out, grab the yarn, pinch, pull down, and it creates a secure knot. So I'm going to go ahead and block my scarf. Now you can use whichever method you prefer. I'm going to zoom out a little bit and I'll show you what I mean about blocking the scarf. You don't have to, but when you look, sometimes you'll see this little bit of puckering here. Now I can hand press it and it lays flat, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to block it a little bit so that relaxes the stitches and lets that just hang really nice. So if you have puckering, I'm not sure if you can see it. Here's a little bit of puckering. Let me see if I can zoom up. I can't see it as well on my monitor as I can in person. Here's a pucker, here's a pucker. I don't like it to pucker, so when you block it, it just relaxes those stitches and it'll lay flat. Now you can use whichever method you prefer. So I'll be right back and I'll show you the finished scarf. So our scarf is finished. This is what it looks like. Now I can't get the whole scarf in the viewfinder, but there it is with our twisted fringe going down both sides. This is what it looks like when it's on and finished. I had such a good time. This is a pattern I wanted to make for a long time. So I'm just going to take it off, and again, this is what it looks like when it's all done. I hope you enjoyed today's crochet tutorial. If you enjoy these videos, please make sure you hit the like button, and if you haven't subscribed, please make sure you hit that subscribe button. So thank you everybody, and until next time, stay inspired and happy crocheting.